Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is going to be video one of a whole bunch of videos, I'm sure, who knows how many, on my pontoon rebuild redesign. And a lot of you guys have been following me on iBoats, and you've seen my restoration of my 16-foot sleek craft. And this is just kind of a recap to give some of the people maybe in YouTube that are tuning in that haven't been on iBoats, kind of a recap as where we're at. I finished my 16-foot sleek craft, which I absolutely love. Wonderful little boat, great fun, but it's only good for 2 or 3 people. I had a Sea Ray 185 bow rider, and that's kind of the boat that I took everybody out on when we had a bunch of people at the lake. It was getting to the point where it needed a bunch of money put into it, new upholstery, etc. And I liked the boat but didn't love it, so I went ahead and sold it. My plan was to go ahead and get a ambassador or an executive sleek craft and do a full restore on one. About that time, the economy went south, and things haven't been so good since then. Last summer, I was talking with my friend David at the lake. We were cruising around in my sleek craft, and told him, I said, I really need to find another boat. I want to have a bunch of people down the lake that we can go out on, because it kind of sucks not being able to take a bunch of people out. And I don't really have the money to do the full restore right now. And he said, well, why don't you get a pontoon boat? And he said, they're cheap, you can pick one up real cheap. And he said, the furniture that goes on them costs nothing. Put a new deck on it, slap some furniture on it, and there you go. So at first I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to do that. I don't like pontoons. They're tired looking. There's some nice looking Benningtons, and the Harris float boat, that kind of their top end boat, is a nice looking boat. But the rest of them honestly look like the boats I made 20 years ago. There's been no change. So at the end of the day, I was kind of like, I'm not going to do that. And the more I got to thinking about it, I'm like, well, maybe it's an opportunity to come up with something new and kind of rethink the pontoon boat. So that's kind of what this project's all about, and kind of how I got here. This is sort of a temporary boat, and we'll restore it and see what happens. I'm going to try a lot of new things. May end up being an ugly duckling, but you never know until you try. I think one of the biggest things with pontoon boats is the vocabulary and the whole thought process when it comes to design. This is the architect speaking, and just they don't have seats, they have furniture, they don't have gunnels, they have fences. And I think we're just going to kind of throw that whole deal out. I mean, you can look at, this is the side of the one I bought, the fence, and it looks more or less like the same thing they're making today, except for this was made 20 years ago. I mean, it looks like crap. That's actually the front part. It's a little bit shorter, but the sides were 30 inches tall. I mean, there was no consideration to design as far as looks. It's all about how big of a platform can we make and stuff furniture on it, basically oversized furniture on it. And I mean, look at this thing. It's like a freaking aircraft carrier. There's plenty of room here for coming up with new ideas, new design, and maybe sacrifice some of that space to accommodate something that looks a little sexier. And at the end of the day, this deal may not look sexy at all, but we'll give it a try and see what happens and try to come up with some new ideas, etc. But kind of my thought on the fence was getting rid of it. Okay, took care of the fence problem. So from this point on, that's going to be how we look at stuff. Just look at a lot of different ideas. Anyone has any ideas, feel free to chime in. Always looking for different ideas. And we'll try this out, see what happens, and go from there. Thanks.